Spring has sprung in the Afternoon Express Loft. Welcome back to the show. Now, today in the Loft, we meet Laura Flint, who's recovered from a horse riding accident by gardening. Recovering from severe head injuries that led to seizures, anxiety disorder, double vision and memory loss, she rekindled a childhood love of gardening and an appreciation of gardening as a means of therapy and, as it turns out, a way to connect with her environment and her community and make new friends. Welcome to the Loft, Laura.
Thank you.
You've got such an incredible story. I mean, when I just went through everything that you've been through in your recovery, it just blows my mind. But for our viewers who just need to touch base to the person you were before your accident, can you just take us to that student before the fall?
So I was studying interaction design, which is basically software design. And my life was very much sit on my computer all day. In the afternoons, I'd go and ride my horses to train them and then chill. You know, I wasn't particularly social, so I didn't get up to too much mischief as a student.
Yeah.
But yeah, before it was kind of just the mundane, be a student kind of life.
But you were still active, you know, you did love the horse riding and being out there in the wild.
Yeah, so I've always loved animals,
Yeah.
like big obsession. I mean, I've got ducks and rabbits and horses, so it's just who I am. And the horses was, yeah, also a sports outlet and just getting out there.
If I were to just go back to then the actual day, the incident in January, I believe it was, when unfortunately you had your accident. Can you just talk us through what happened that day and the horse that you were riding specifically?
Yeah, so it's actually my young horse. Her name is Lola, and I love her to bits. And she looks like a cow, so we call her the cow. And it was a typical kind of day. It was actually in the holidays, summer holidays, so I was up early to go to the stables.
Yeah.
I had a lesson later that morning with my coach, and I got on, and that's all I remember. So I apparently, according to those who were there, she had a sore back. We didn't know this, and she just threw me off, and I landed headfirst in the ground.
Wow.
Apparently, I was awake, and I got up, and I started walking, and then I had a seizure. But I don't remember any of this.
So when does your memory kick back in?
My memory kicks back in the next day.
Wow.
I woke up, and across from me is a bed with a man completely covered in bandages. I was like, I don't know where I am.
Wow.
So that was really strange. Luckily, I wasn't panicking, but I just woke up and I was in ICU.
So, Laura, from that moment on, I'm sure the road to recovery was long, it was grueling, very painful, and it needed you to dive deep and unearth some strengths that you never knew you had. So what did the recovery process look like? And more than anything, the physical injuries. I mean, you speak of anxiety disorder that was ignited through this trip, and you also speak about memory loss and that double vision.
You know, I was really lucky. I didn't hurt my body physically. I've had worse falls where I've damaged nerves and broken bones. So from that perspective, it was okay. But it was the first time I've fallen and I had no memory. And people would talk to me for weeks after that. I wouldn't sustain, you know, none of it stayed in my head. My poor partner and my poor family had to tell me the same things over and over again. And the anxiety kicked in just before varsity term was going to start.
Yeah.
I think I was stressed because I knew I wasn't going to be able to cope with the kind of, you know, you're going to a lecture, you need to remember the stuff they're going to tell you. And I just couldn't, I couldn't face that. The anxiety started getting really intense. It felt like spiders were crawling over me.
Absolutely. I read that you felt like spiders were crawling up your neck into your hair and you couldn't even breathe. So when you needed to delve deep and look for alternative ways of healing and alternative therapies, you turned to gardening.
Yes, I must say it became an obsession very quickly. I have always loved plants. I've always been an outdoors kid and grew up with a lot of gardening influential people in my life as well, which was great. But I had time. I wasn't allowed to look at my phone. I wasn't really supposed to watch TV. So the thing I did was I had a couple of small plants around and I just started propagating them. I started an Instagram account to share my garden journey, and you know, I've met so many people through that as well. And it's just been a great way to kind of connect with the community and do something. It's definitely become a bit of an obsession.
Well, it's a healthy obsession. And I love the fact that you decided to upskill yourself. You went back to a childhood love, something that you used to bond with your mother. And now it ended up being a healing thing for you, a therapeutic mode for you. So when you do garden, in a very practical way, how does it make you feel? Does it allow you to just process your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings?
Yes, definitely. In fact, through lockdown, it's probably been the most significant thing. My company went fully remote, so I'm working in my own little space all the time. So I have absolutely filled it with green because that just calms me down. I also started a vegetable garden during lockdown, which was, you know, I think most people have. Everyone's had so much more time at home.
Yeah.
And when you've had a frustrating interaction with someone, when you're feeling very cooped up, you go and you weed and you pick out all those little plants you don't want in your life and you toss them in the bin. It's the best.
I love the fact that you say that. Everyone who watches Afternoon Express very closely always says that I see my mind as a garden and I also weed out all the negative thoughts. But I love you putting a twist on it and saying you're also weeding out all the negative people, surrounding yourself in your workspace with greenery, allowing you to be more productive, more calm, centered, and of course, one with yourself. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for bringing these gorgeous flower crowds as we are fully blown in spring. Thank you.
Thank you.
It could be gardening, or it could be music, or it could be expressing yourself in your writing. Please let us know on social media using that hashtag Afternoon Express how you have found a therapeutic way to release during lockdown level 1.